Good morning, Rima. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Long time.
Good. Great to see you again.
Thank you for hosting us here at Inception.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming. Quite excited today. I think we're starting off about agentification to really achieve it across the UAE.
Look, we've been discussing this together for a while, and I'm super excited to what's coming next together. So let's go for it.
So I'm incredibly inspired by the UAE because they've put themselves a strong vision, right? If you really want to achieve impact in AI, you need to start by dreaming big. And the UAE is incredibly good at dreaming big. Now, the question is, should we be 50% agentic, 75% agentic, 100% agentic in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? What does that really mean, right? The AI world is transforming so quickly. It's a question of how do you set your organization up for success given the continuous advancements that are coming into reality. And that's why I really value the Microsoft Inception joint engagement, right? What I've understood in terms of how we can elevate agentification of organizations is incredible, right? You have a lot of base platforms that you bring from global best engineering. You've embedded your forward deployed engineers into Inception to also support and augment our capabilities. And actually the combination of the two does magic.
Yeah.
What I've seen is if you really want to transform an organization, there's a couple of steps, right? You need to give every individual their own AI agent so they can actually create their own. Right?
Exactly.
Every single person's an agent builder. And this you know perfectly. Right? Now, Copilot does this beautifully, right? When you combine Copilot with Inception's Catalyst, organizations win even more. And just to explain a little bit what that means, right? Copilot, I think everybody knows, although it would be helpful for
the UI of AI that everybody talks about.
Yes. It would be very helpful for you to add. Now, before you go deeper into Copilot, I'll tell you a little bit about Inception's Catalyst. Inception's Catalyst complements Copilot. It has full interoperability. So they work perfectly together. But the difference is we're focused on institutional knowledge, driving organizations, to drive organizational-wide AI change, right? The way I understand it is Copilot gives everyone their own personal agent. Now, Catalyst gives the organization the AI agent platform. Right? We call it Inception's operating system for AI agentification. But what that really means is you can build agents in one and works in the other. Right?
Yeah.
You can build AI workflows. Like if I want to optimize recruitment end to end, we have something called AI Policy Engine. We're quite
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's new for me. Tell me more about it.
It is. Basically, it drives more complex workflows. Right? You can take a knowledge repository, which we call like an AI brain.
Okay.
10,000, 100,000 documents and concepts. You fully embed the way you think as an organization, and you keep improving that. Now, the AI Policy Engine says anything you want. How do I scan it against that? If I take an example, you analyze strategies for the entirety of the UAE. Does the submitted strategy match the typical expectations that you put? And it gives you intelligence to feedback back to. Consider it a compliance checker, an evaluator. It makes sure that everything you do is at the right high quality bar and AI intelligence is embedded into what you do. The last two, AI Brain, I mentioned a bit about it. And there was a piece that Satya actually shot out.
Yes. Yeah.
About creating intellectual property of your organization. For us, this was golden and this was incredibly powerful. And we've seen partners that we've engaged with use the AI brain really elevate what they do. Now, there's so many new AI tools that come in every few days, every week, every month. It completely disrupts the way we operate. But you need something to stay static. Yes. Your institutional knowledge and how you build on that and how you can plug in any new AI agent that you have into this one knowledge base that thinks, that understands, that sees and decides the way you decide. Clients using this was incredibly powerful because it doesn't matter which tool they actually brought to the table.
Exactly.
Right? The agents are able to think like them and decide like them, and intelligence compounds. The last, and sorry, this was quite an extensive intro on Catalyst, is Command Center. It was critical. How do you do observability? How do you do governance across all of these different agent tools? That was important to us. So for us, it's fundamental that you give every individual their agent. That's critical. And that's why for us, Copilot was important.
Yes.
It's also very important that you give your organization an agentic platform. And this agentic platform then allows you to systematically increase your percentage
of agent adoption
every week, every month, and throughout the year, overachieve on your 50, 75%.
That's amazing. look, I think the way you've described Catalyst and the way it integrates really with Copilot and vice versa is super exciting for us, because for us, Copilot is the easiest tool of UI of AI that every employee in every organization has it on their inbox, in their teams, or in the tool out of the box in their Windows desktop. So what that adds to the story is it's a simple tool that everybody uses, but now Catalyst is coming to the play to agentify the journey and build your own agents, as you mentioned, in a more governed and secure and sovereign way, let me say. So this partnership for me is super important to accelerate the journey. But I want to double down on two things you mentioned that I think for us, when we want to onboard this journey together, is super important. First, definitely governance is super important, and this is where the fifth pillar is. So the integration between what you're doing and Agent 365 is super important to have a view of how the agents are performing and kind of have that life cycle review. And second, and I think it's a hidden tax that we all pay, is adoption, right? This is not a tool. This is not something that we can build. Adoption is just how can we make sure no matter how much you're agentified in an organization, whether it's 100%, 50%, if you have zero adoption, then you have zero agentification journey. So I think organizations need to really think of a process and how to kind of go into an adoption journey that would make sure that all the agents we've built, no matter how simple, how integrated they are, they're actually used in an organization. And I think that's a challenge we're on right now. And I think together we have so many ideas that we can crack that along the way, I would say.
Listen, one of the big advantages that we have is you're able to see it from a global lens.
Yeah.
Right? Your engineering teams are global and actually building for problems of everybody. Yeah. The advantage Inception brings is sovereignty and localization.
Exactly.
How do we actually tailor your solutions to solve real local problems?
Yeah.
And when we engage with partners and clients here in the UAE, we actually see them understanding and using these tools in their local context.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And for us, this is where the AI brain becomes fundamental. Right? How do you take global tools, use them in local context, and not just local context, but your personal organizational context, right? Yeah. Copilot is already connected to everything that most organizations use.
Exactly.
Email, Teams, SharePoint, other files and folders. This in combination with an AI brain that grounds it, how your organization thinks, your organization's strategy, how your organization decides, and having your agents use that as a knowledge base, for me, is the game changer.
Exactly. To add one more thing, and I think organizations, going back to how we're thinking originally, picking up the right use cases, right? Yeah. So I think everybody is super hyped just to identify anything and everything. Yeah. And I think it's super important to pick up the right use cases, and we're learning together along that journey itself, right? So I think we're at an inflection point where the world is looking into UAE with the diffusion of AI of 71%, right? And how are we picking the right use cases for our next kind of point in time, which is agentification and taking agents to the next level, right? Because it's a country ambition. And this is where I think we're collaborating together extensively to picking up the right use cases together and empowering, of course, organizations and governments to kindly select the right use cases as they move on, because selecting the right use case with the right ROI, with the right acceleration, it gives them the ground to kind of take it to the next level. And as you said, it compounds over time. And this is super important also.
Listen, what I've learned is, I think, two pieces of the puzzle. One, it's important to give them their personal AI assistant so they can learn, experiment.
Yeah.
A lot of people hear so much about AI, but you need to get your hands in it. You need to feel it. You need to interact.
Exactly.
So even just using Copilot Cowork, otherwise exploring the functionality is huge, right? Now, a mistake I see some companies doing is what I call a little bit of overthinking, right? If you take a step back and you talk to some of the big leaders, they know what their 1, 2, 3 biggest and most impactful processes are. You know what runs your company and what would fundamentally improve.
Change it.
What we typically recommend is start with the 1, 2, 3 biggest impact. We call it transform your core. Start with what matters most, what would make a real impact difference to you, right? For example, we've worked with an investment company where the first flow we agentified was analysis of their investments linked to an AI brain, all of their investments and decisions. On a weekly basis, 2, 3 of their biggest investments go through this cycle. This is important because you don't want to use AI just for the sake of using AI. You need to use AI to transform your business to drive major impact. So what we recommend, and when we work with partners, we say, listen, go for it. Give everyone their AI agent. Start with Inception Catalyst, which actually allows you to build the first workflows. Pick your 1-2 workflows that clearly will transform and bring you an impact while thinking of, hey, what are the next highest impact, easiest feasibility use cases I can do next? So it's building the plane while flying it.
Yes.
Given the ambition of the UAE, we need to fly.
Yes,
The expectation is always tomorrow.
Yes, and we're up for it together, I would say.
And we're up for it together.
100%, yes.
The magic becomes, how do you actually co-build with them, with their business knowledge, with the understanding what they need, so they already have impact a few months in, while analyzing and strategizing what the next wave is.
Look, absolutely. And I think this is what we as Microsoft call the frontier companies and organizations, right? It's where they take the next leap on the use cases that they want, and they become frontiers in what they do in partnership with AI. Let's put it this way, right? So they kind of work collaboratively with agents along the organizations where humans and agents collaborate. And this is where actually a country like UAE has that ambition. So we're looking forward, and I think there's so much to be done yesterday, as you said, right? So look, building on what we have been discussing, I think there is, and doubling down on adoption that I have mentioned before, I think what's really interesting in this partnership is how can we really rebuild and kind of take things to the next level without really kind of going from scratch with organizations. And I think it's super important as we progress in our partnership to make sure of how we can build agents repeatedly and compound on that without really kind of making that spaghetti that used to be have in previous kind of transformations before, where everybody is building his or her own agent without really the right governance, without really the right infrastructure, sovereign infrastructure, and making sure if an agent that is built correctly and that has a big impact, how can we multiply that effect across organizations and kind of building marketplaces?
For us, this is important because when our partners or our clients invest in technology, it's important that it's future built, purpose built, right? We don't want a scenario where they spend time building something, or we spend time building something with them, and then 6 months, 12 months down the line, it's no longer relevant.
Exactly.
Right? So for us, the interoperability is critical. How many people does Microsoft have globally?
Around 220,000.
220,000.
Yeah.
How do we use this 220,000 force of innovation, of defining where the future is going, of building the future?
Exactly.
And using that moving ship, but augmenting it, right? We're here to help. We're here to support. We're not here to compete with where the world is going, right? Nobody objectively knows where AI will be a year from today.
Yes.
Right? But you can build today, given everything we know that's going to happen for the next year.
future. Yeah.
So for us, interoperability is critical. How do we ensure that what you're building is Microsoft Copilot today? Who knows what tomorrow? Inception Catalyst today, who knows where tomorrow is going? In a way where for clients that have already adopted this, it continues to transform and keep them at the frontier, right?
Yeah.
For us, this is the game changer. That's why the simple example that I gave on AI Brain.
Yes.
Your institutional knowledge will not be replaced.
Absolutely not.
It will continue to learn and be augmented through Catalyst. And wherever AI goes in the future, you can add it on here. And you will be more ready as an organization because of it.
Exactly. And look, this is very, very nice because if you take a kind of a step back on what really Copilot is what we defined it's the simple UI of AI in an organization that doubles down on productivity, right? It's going to be with you every day, no matter which touch point you do in whichever process of productivity that you want to enhance, right? So given that as a foundation and doubling down on the foundation of the sovereign infrastructure that we partner across in the country and having an agentic platform or a brain on top that could actually build the agents on top, I think that's a superpower that we can really accelerate with and kind of progress to build the right agents at the right time while we progress the country into becoming an AI agentic country in the first place. So I think this is super important.
And actually the base of Catalyst at Inception42 is built on top of a lot of Microsoft components, right? So the idea is as these grow and your components get more advanced, which they will, Catalyst automatically benefits from it.
Absolutely. So we'll see in the future probably a Catalyst Copilot or a Catalyst Cowork, for example.
Yes. And so we have this as a base for primarily cloud players, right? The ones that are still more concerned about security or otherwise, we've taken the engineering principles and repurposed a version of Catalyst for on-premise.
Oh, that's super interesting.
So for us, again, I double down on the importance of security, sovereignty, right? And actually using these global engineering practices for best practices in cloud. Cloud will accelerate you.
100%.
We see that as incredibly important. But for us, it's also important that nobody gets left behind. So the people that are required to have very strong security measures can still grow on the journey.
Yes. And look, this is super important with nobody's left behind. And I think the concept of sovereignty and having a platform that embraces everyone from across the stacks that we just discussed is super important to make sure that the transformation and acceleration happens to literally every organization and probably every person in UAE, I would say.
Brilliant.
Cool.
For us, both is incredibly important, both speed and sovereignty. We believe the base engineering power of Microsoft gives you the speed of innovation, right? We believe that the localization, understanding of the local market and adjusting for UAE allows sovereignty.
Exactly.
Right? Microsoft's been committed to supporting us on sovereignty for years. Right? Our base and everything we do is sovereign. It's very important that we have control of data privacy, we have governance across all of our technological tools for in-country management, in-country principles and data residency with whatever requirements that our partners or our clients require. So for us, we go as far as on-premise, air-gapped, which means no internet access, completely secure, even on a single device, to fully operating on sovereign cloud, which is fully in-country. So this full stack is important for us because we're able to meet our partners or meet our clients wherever they lie. Exactly. Now, there are implications and trade-offs on this. In cloud, it's typically lower cost and higher speed. On entirely on-prem and air-gapped, it's usually a bit slower and
higher cost also.
So it becomes a decision between where they want to lie in this, but we're here to support.
Look, I think you're spot on. And if I want to categorize them together, I don't think it's a pull force between each other. I think they come together, right? So if we kind of relay the right foundations together, having a sovereign infrastructure in country, for example, with having the large language models that we support together in a sovereign way, then you build on what Microsoft is actually betting on in the country of having the latest of greatest technologies. We've just announced Copilot in country a couple of months ago. That's also sovereign. And add to that an agentic platform, an agentic brain, and a governance on top that would actually double down on that kind of narrative and vision. I think it's not a force that is one or the other. In fact, it becomes an accelerated force where organizations can double down on this bet and make sure that they are accelerating their transformation around kind of agentifying their journeys together. So I think it's not a push or a pull. It's going back together, and it's making sure that taking the right bets and of course, getting to where the customers are and our partners are, but at the same time, educating them what is the right way moving forward with that kind of a superpower, as I mentioned before, that we have so that we can win together.
So I love this. Basically, Catalyst is a sovereign agentic platform by definition, right? So as long as you have Catalyst, you're able to ensure that your entire agentic platform is sovereign. So given what we do and our focus on this and our partnerships throughout the UAE to ensure we maintain the right sovereignty and controls on top of it is important, while still allowing the UAE to achieve their agentification goals, right?
100%.
There's a lot that you see that's happening on the globe in terms of AI innovation that is not yet sovereign. Catalyst is that accelerator to make it sovereign and bring it to you so you're able to do everything you're seeing across the globe.
100%. And this is the most important pillar that we need to make sure we go together and deliver on this promise as we move forward. Ibrahim, where do you, if we fast forward 12 months, where do you see ourselves together in 12 months?
Listen, I love it. I believe in the AI world, you can predict about 3, 6, 9 months into the future.
6 months. Let's do 6 months.
I will still accept your question of 12 months.
Yeah.
I believe very few people know where the world is going in 12 months. The differentiator are the people who are using AI every day. Those are the ones that are able to adopt and adapt to where the world is going very quickly, right? And I don't see this partnership going anywhere but strengthening and improving each other, right? What I see is Microsoft and the global continue to innovate to define where is the curve going.
Exactly.
What is the next win in agentification, right? Now we're talking about co-pilots, we're talking about workflow automation. What does an AI future look like? How do we create that AI future with UAE being the beacon that shows and paves the way for the globe becomes where our partnership is in 12 months, right?
100%. No, look, I think our partnership, I hope it will define how AI diffusion in UAE looks like in the next 6 to 12 months, and not only on using AI, but actually leveraging agents on top of the partnership. So I really have that ambition together so that we make sure that we together partner to kind of get to that diffusion as at speed and at scale together.
And within 12 months, the UAE will already be there. Right?
It's already there.
Yes. They'll be further there.
They'll be further there.
Yes,
that's why.
Further there.
So do you think we'll see a further 71% of AI diffusion? I hope so.
Definitely. And I believe we'll overachieve against our targets as the UAE. And
Yes,
we'll continue
I have
to aspire
no doubt. We've always overachieved as a country, and I'm sure they will overachieve again and again.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.